Okay, so this is my Andor Season 1, Episode 11 review. And we know what's going to happen next episode with the finale, which is it's going to take place at Marva's funeral, and everybody's going after Andor, or at least the Empire is. Oh yeah, and Vel, Sartha, and Cinta. Now, which is going to be interesting. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So it starts off with Andor and Melshi hanging from a steep cliff. And I couldn't figure out why I knew the character of Melshi. He looked so familiar. And then I found out that he actually is in Rogue One. So we know he's surviving the season. So, they're hanging from a rock face, and at first you think that Melshi's a goner because he's whining. He's like, I can't feel my hands. I mean, granted, he had every reason to whine, but he was having such a hard time that I thought, yeah, he's a dead man, and Cassian is going to be going it on his own. Didn't happen. Um, they kind of implied that Cassian helped him, just like I thought he would have helped Kino if Melshi didn't grab him and push him into the water last episode. I guess it's still possible that he lived because we didn't see him die. We didn't see the Empire do anything to him. Like I said last episode, it's possible that they just captured him and are going to do shit to him. We don't know. Speaking of which, we see Marva. Well, we see them preparing for Marva's funeral, the daughters of Ferrix and Brasso. And, Brasso, I felt so bad for B. B just wanted his mom, but she's gone, and she died, which doesn't surprise me. I saw that was going to happen. I thought it was going to happen in the season finale, though, that she would help the rebellion and die in a blaze of glory, not just because she's old and not taking her meds. But she died, and B does not like being alone. And finally, and Cinta is just watching what's going on. She got a job at a bar across the street. And she's just watching. And so she is going to become a brick. She's going to get cremated, and she's going to get mixed in with mortar and become a brick. Okay, fine. So, and the mourning period, or the funeral anyway, takes 2 days. And at first the Imperials that were on Ferrix did not want to go ahead with the funeral, and Dedra's like, no, let them go through the funeral. We will box them in. So it's kind of funny that they mentioned that she's gonna become a brick in a wall, considering Dedra just said that they're gonna box them in. So she wants to have the funeral because they want Andor. Then we have Bix. This poor girl. She's you can see she's having such a hard time. She cannot walk. She's just remembering the noises that they've been forcing her to listen to, and she's just not looking good. So they interrogate her. Well, they ask her questions, so at least this time they're being remotely nice. And ask her if Anto Kruger is the person who did the Aldani job. And if Bix was smart, now she just broke down and started crying. So I'm hoping that the Imperials will take this as a tacit admission that he was the one, because as much as I do not like that even Luthen wants to pin this all on Kruger after he tried to convince Saw to join forces with him, and he's willing to sacrifice like 30 men. And the fact that he was way too cool about, yeah, it's 30 men. Oh well. Yeah, that doesn't put you in a really good light, dude. But anyway, so hopefully, if either by Bix's reaction, or hopefully Bix still has her wits about her, that she will say that yes, it's him, so she doesn't give up Luthen. But because it seems like she's barely holding on, but that she still is somewhat holding on. So hopefully that'll happen. As much as I do not like the idea of pinning a job on someone who had nothing to do with it. You know, basically they're using him as cannon fodder, so. Anyway, so as this is going on, Cyril, wonderful Cyril, he gets a call from one of the guys, the one I called Scotty, who apparently Cyril asked him to keep an eye out for Andor. And you can tell that this guy cannot understand what Cyril is saying because the connection is so bad, because he's answering questions or answering things that Cyril never said, which I found to be hilarious. But it finally came out that Marva died, and that he expects that Andor, that Cassian will be at her funeral. And so the mother is oh so thrilled. And he even waits till she leaves the house and then he starts grabbing something. So I don't know if he's going to contact the ICB, or if he's going to, or it's an ISB, I don't know. Or what he plans on doing, or if he's going to go to the funeral himself, and it's going to be a complete and utter, every cast member is going to be on Ferrix for the funeral for one reason or another. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with Cyril. I really hope that by the end he realizes the Empire sucks. If for no reason, because the Empire's just, oh, you did a thing. That's for us. That's great. You can go and die now. So who knows what's going to happen? That maybe he'll join the rebellion, or he's going to die at the end. Anyway, so then we find out that Vel and Clea don't seem to like each other very much. Because the first time seemed like just a tense meeting, but this time, no, they don't like each other. So Vel wants to find Luthen and tell him that she is going to Ferrex to go to attend Marva's funeral. I guess because Cinta would actually follow orders and try to kill Cassian, whereas Vel wants to stop her, is my guess, because Vel doesn't seem that thrilled. What I want to know is, they must have showed her a picture of him somewhere off screen, because how would she know who he is? He used an alias when he was with her on Aldhani. So, Luthen is, speaking of Aldhani, speaking of Luthen, Clea is talking to Luthen on the radio, and then he had to cut off communications unceremoniously because he was being hailed by the Empire. And this turned into Luthen being a total badass, which just before this, Luthen with Saw was like really hardcore, really, yeah, how are you better than the people you're fighting exactly? You suck. But in this instance, he was awesome. So he's talking to his computer as the Empire is trying to find out who he is, get, and board the craft and all that. And of course, Luthen wants nothing to do with the Empire. So, between his computer and Luthen, they were able to escape, and it was so much fun to watch. So, yeah, I honestly thought that this was the end for Luthen. I really thought he was going to die in this episode. But he didn't. No, I don't. He has no reason to go to the funeral, so guess not. Guess he'll survive till season 2. So, let's see, what have I missed so far? So Vel goes to see Mon Mothma, and she tells Vel about what is happening and why, and that she needs, I thought it was just 40,000 credits. Now it's 400,000. Okay. So she's telling Vel this, and I'm sure the wheels are turning in Vel's head. And they're also discussing how Leda, her daughter, seems to love these traditional classes, which I guess are one step before betrothal. And so she tells Vel, Mon Mothma tells Vel, what's happening. She loves the classes, but she doesn't like what's happening, and that because she's 400,000 credits in the hole, she she was given this proposal, and she really doesn't want to do it, but she doesn't have any other choice. So I'm glad she finally told Vel, because apparently Luthen only kind of knows what's happening. She didn't tell him the full story, and considering Luthen's willing to let a bunch of men die so he doesn't get found out, I don't think he'd be very sympathetic to Mon Mothma's plight and the fact that she has to, in essence, sell off her daughter. Maybe he would. He did imply that his family was dead, so we don't know how extensive that is. Maybe he would care. But he doesn't strike me as that kind of a person. So, I'm sure Vel didn't get a chance to say anything. Because at first she'd have to admit that, yeah, she did the Aldani job. But, so her niece, Mon Mothma's daughter, comes out and she's thrilled to see Vel. But you could see during the classes while Mon Mothma and Vel were talking, even though Lyda was talking and Mon Mothma was saying how much she loves the classes, you could see she was still always looking like, what do you think, Mom? What do you think, Mom? Look what I'm doing, Mom. So yeah, it does she really love the classes or does she just do this to piss off her mom? Because she obviously doesn't like her mom very much. I don't know if she knew that what Mon Mothma was actually doing, if she would like her more or what. I don't know. But so yeah, I was hoping that Vel would say, hey, I did this job on Aldani. I could help you out. Or something. Um, let's see. Oh, yes. Back to B. Sweet, sweet B. I felt so bad for him. He just wanted his mommy back. So, but this part was kind of weird. He didn't want to go with Brasso, even though Brasso wanted to take him back with him to his place. He wanted Brasso to stay the night there. So we'll see what happens, but it looks like Brasso just got himself a robot. And then the episode ends with Cassian and Melshi on this planet that at least Cassian was on before his life went to hell. Oh yeah, I forgot them stealing the spaceship. They stole an old Empire spaceship from a couple of aliens who at first were not thrilled with them, thinking that they were Empire, when they're obviously wearing prison jumpsuits at this point. And so they finally let them go because they all hate the Empire. And but then we see them. Cassian finally gets through to Ferrex, and he is finding out that Marva is dead. Everyone refers to Marva as his mom except for Cassian. Cassian calls her by her name. I just find this hilarious. So he's of course numb. He's of course shocked by this because, you know, he never expected that this would happen because others were supposed to take care of his mom, right? But there's only so much you can do when the person involved just doesn't want to do stuff like take their meds or, do other things that could keep them alive. But so he's in shock, and She's just going on and on and on about how, we have to, someone has to get off planet, someone has to tell everyone what's going on, we should split up, and on and on and on. He struck me as a very naive person, maybe because Cassian seemed so put together when they were hanging off the cliff. But, so Cassian gives him a blaster and sends him on his way, never once, saying anything about, oh yeah, my mom just died. Which, yes, it's good that Melshi is taking the initiative and wanting to let people know how much the Empire sucks. But at the same time, maybe it would have been a good idea to tell him, and, it wouldn't maybe temper his enthusiasm, but at least it he would buy a clue, because it's obvious that Cassian seemed in shock, and he's just going on, completely oblivious to what's happening in Cassian's head. So, the ISB is going to be going down to Ferrex to capture Andor. Vel said she's going to Ferrex for the funeral, ostensibly to prevent Cinta from trying to kill Andor. Andor, of course, is going to Ferrex because he wants to attend the funeral of his mother. Cyril is probably going to go to Ferrex because he is intent on capturing Andor himself to show the Empire what a good little boy he is, and how much of an asset he is. So yeah, everybody's going to Ferrex. I don't know about Luthen or Clea, because, well, Clea definitely not. But Luthen, that's why I assume Clea got Vel and Cinta to do this job, because that way they don't have to go to Ferrex themselves. So, yeah, basically, except for Luthen and Clea, and of course Mon Mothma, pretty much everybody's going to Ferrex. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Even Brasso seems to be on the Empire's radar. So, hopefully he survives this encounter. Bix, obviously they don't have to do much with her anymore because she's pretty much a shell at this point. Not completely, but almost a shell, which is sad. Let's see. What am I missing? I think I covered everything on this episode. So, I am kind of, even though I knew that Marva was going to die, like I said, I'm just bummed that she did die, and definitely the way she died. That was just ugh. So, with that, next episode's going to be a lot of fun. So I will see you then.